be, you know, just a lot of things that were going on. And
so they had symptoms
right,
then
right.
of what would be diabetes, possibly.
Right. And then, as I say, diabetics notoriously are in denial, and not just, you know, a month or two, like years, because they have the mindset that if I don't acknowledge diabetes, then I don't have it. And but anyway, it really, when you at the start of diabetes, you may have 5 to 7 years that something is brewing, you know. And then, you know, and then when they're having their surgery, you know, it is very, very important to get diabetes under control, because you're prone to infection, you're prone to, it's an awful disease in that amputations, that's the leading cause of non-traumatic amputations.
Now, Susan, if a person, well, I know that the medical field is now trying to work towards more wellness than just treating sickness.
Right.
And a lot of the insurance companies and a lot of the primary doctors are having their patients come in for an annual physical.
Yes.
And at that time they take the physical. They also take a urine sample to go to the lab, and they take a blood sample, which would also include anything that could identify diabetes,
like
or
the
low
hemoglobin
calcium.
A1C, which tells over a 3-month period of time how well your diabetes is under control. You know, it has like a pyramid type thing, and up at the top would be, you know, your blood sugars have been very well under control. So your hemoglobin A1C may be around 6, you know. But
so what is for those who don't know, what is the hemoglobin that you're talking about?
Okay, we have blood, and we have sugar particles going throughout our body. So they take it's a blood test, and then they actually look on the slide, and they physically count how many clumps of sugar are on that, and that tells
in the blood cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that tells exactly how in control your blood sugar is. And because, for one, the blood cell replenishes itself every 3 months.
Oh.
So you can have, you know, you have a good kind of timeline of look what the blood did in 3 months' time.
So the blood, you're talking about the DNA blood that had the clump that had that, or are you looking at the sugar cell?
Right, the sugar, but the blood would just be, you know, taking blood out of your vein, but what's also important is to know what your current hemoglobin A1C is, and secondly, you need to be, if you've been diagnosed with diabetes, then you need to be monitoring your blood sugar on like a daily basis. So the hemoglobin A1C is the big picture, and the daily is the little parts to it.
So when you're talking about, for those who don't understand about diabetes, what you were talking about, every 3 months the hemoglobin A1C is tested, to see what the average of your sugar level in your blood was for the last 3 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But every day, a person with diabetes has to
do
extract a little bit of blood, and it is tested on a little
and you do
machine.
that yourself.
You do that yourself, and you keep track of what is the number of your blood at that time. Now, at what point is a dangerous count or a safe count of your blood?
Oh, well, they have.
Well, hold on. Let me not go. Okay. Well, hold about that question. Okay. Now, for people who are not diabetic, what she was talking about, our daily blood check. We have some people have a blood meter, that will collect it, and it will tell the low and your high. So that's your daily average. Some people will take it in the morning. Some people take it in the afternoon. Some people take it in the evening to check if their sugar is not high or low. While some people are pre-diabetic, some people are diabetic fully, diabetic second, and sometimes it's diabetic first when they already started when they're a baby, starting taking insulin shots. So they have to really monitor their sugar intake. But it's a lifestyle that we have to continue every day to watch what we eat. You know, I have gone to many groups that talk about, I don't know why my sugar is so high. Whatever you put in your mouth is what you eat. So it doesn't lie. You know, the only way to stop having sugar is don't eat. And then your body will adjust it. But most of the time the sugar is stored in your liver. That I noticed that, and that's something that people are detox themselves. They try to drink a lot of water. Because I know when I have pre-diabetic, it was awful. Like my mouth would get really dry and thirsty, and I kind of like, oh man, I cannot salivate, and then I got urged, and I knew that my sugar was really high. So I had to drink water, and people tell my mom, I tell my brother, to pull over, I gotta go to the store, and now I always have a bottle with me or a pitcher like this. All the time, because I get really thirsty, no matter. And it depends on the symptom of your current level of sugar. And you can, you sweat a lot, you go to the bathroom a lot. I mean, you get really hyper a lot. And people have different symptoms of diabetic. So on that note, the question that Connie asked, what was the question again, please?
Well, I had several questions, but the
question is after.
Well, I asked her about signs of diabetes. Now, I remember 25, 30 years ago, my primary doctor had thought that I was on the borderline of having diabetes. And at that time, I lived in Monterey, California, and I was sent to a group like you probably do teach. And in this group, what I learned was the proper way to eat, and not to be eating sugar, and how to take my blood count every day and why. So I went home and I continued to do everything that I was taught to do. Went back to see my doctor, and she says, you aren't even on the borderline. You have not. You do not have diabetes. I never have had diabetes since then. But the important thing was I took charge of myself. Exactly. So can you tell us, on the average, of how many people do get diabetes?
Oh my goodness.
Can you give us an idea about that?
They're saying, let's see, I have the information right here. They're saying that well, they're saying 80 million would have pre-diabetes. And, that does give you, as you did, you took control of your eating, probably increased your exercise, did do testing maybe once a day.
Every day.
Yeah. And so, we really hope that people are able to do that and see the importance of self-care. And then they're saying that there's which I find very disturbing, that there's maybe 29 million people that have diabetes.
Here in the United States?
Or our country, or anyway, but 29 million, but 21 million have been diagnosed with it, and so hopefully are dealing with it. But 9 million, there's people that are undiagnosed, and that's what I think that is a shame, is that the slowness and the not properly treating diabetes. Many people live, as I said, from 5 to 7 years having diabetes, but not being aware of it. And
if your diabetes is not treated, what can actually happen to a person?
Well,
if they're not getting good medical care, or if they can't afford to go to the doctor to have regular checkups and an annual physical, or have their blood tested, what can be the outcome of a person that has diabetes? And also, what about children that cannot, the parents can't afford insurance, medical insurance, and the children have diabetes, the parents are not aware of it?
Right.
Can you give us an idea of what would happen?
Well, oftentimes in children, known as juvenile diabetes, it's a whole other process of, it's an autoimmune situation where their pancreas, which makes the insulin, is attacked. And so it comes on very rapidly.
Would they get pancreatitis too?
They could, but the children are so sick. So it is very important. I mean, hopefully they're doing screening for young children, but I know that many a child that had type 1 would be rushed to the hospital, and they would, because of symptoms of, tired, wounds not healing, but, the key one is urinating all day long and being thirsty that you can't,
and that would happen with the child also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, now, just on that note, children with diabetes who are juvenile, they have a lot of chemical imbalance.
Yes.
When it comes to chemical imbalance, when the doctor tells me, it's chemical imbalance, and I thought, okay, well, it can affect your thyroid, it affects your pituitary gland, it affects your pancreatic, it affects your liver, fatty tissue intake, it affects you going to the bathroom, over excessive bladder, kidney. All those things affect your internal organ, and that I believe that it kept the balance. But the more children, like parents probably know their children are pre-diabetic, and they'll, like you said, will be in denial on that they're existing chemical imbalance, because they're growing up, they have they're going through adolescence, they're going through puberty, whatever, and yet the sugar are not. It's the factor of the major component of of your eating habit.
Yes.
A lot of people I know have seen that they go to McDonald's. They go to simple that family that don't regularly cook at home have more tendency to be diabetic.
Right.
Because the restaurant are more saturated fat.
Right.
And really, and that's something we need to educate our parents, not just the children itself, because parents are important. Are the one that gave birth to the kid, and they should be able to take care of their health, wellness.
Well, that's one of the questions that Susan and I were talking about before the show started, was that parents who do not take care of their children or have their children examined, and if the child is diagnosed with diabetes and then doesn't do anything about the food intake, because it's not just sugar.
No.
It's like any food that turns to sugar.
Right.
Corn turns to sugar in your body.
Right.
And knowing what to eat, not to eat, what quantities and so forth.
Right.
I'd like to know a parent who is not taking care of their child with diabetes, what responsibility do they have by law, or can that be considered child abuse? Has there ever been any discussion about that?
No, but to my mind, it would be neglect. Totally neglect of not caring for your child as you should be.
Exactly.
And but the difference between like type 1 is actually only like 25% of people that have diabetes are type 1.
And the type 1 is when you're born.
Is that low or high?
I know. No, that's low.
That's low.
In comparison to type 2, which is like 85 to 90%.
Oh my God, 85%.
Diabetic.
And that's acquired after birth.
Yes.
Type 1 you have when you're born.
No. It's there again, it's that autoimmune process where it attacks the pancreas and its ability to make insulin. So they would, the child after diagnosis would have to be on insulin for the rest of their life.
So if they have the type 1?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And we are seeing some older people, and then they even have this crazy thing that's like type 1 or 2 where they have tendencies. I mean, in a type 1 and a type 2, they have the body fat around their middle.
Right.
And
midriff.
And they're said to be insulin resistant. It means that there might be enough insulin in the body, but they can't process it. The cells become resistant to the insulin. So somebody eats fat and sugar or is eating
carbo.
Bad carbohydrates.
Right. Then they have medications, that treat that. But the main thing is, as you mentioned before, lifestyle of, so many of us are not really that active. So movement, getting into even walking or
weight loss.
Yes.
Yeah, weight loss. Mm-hmm.
And then this kind of surprised me, that if you're heavy and you are addressing the fact that you're a diabetic, even as little as 7 to 10% of a weight loss will really help your utilization of sugar.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. My doctor, told me that in order, I got my A1C and they were a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Doug, what happened? Well, it was. What happened? And I'm like, wow. A doctor telling me what happened. So I'm thinking, okay, now this I tell him this summer I didn't know activity at all because it was too hot for me to go out.
Oh yeah.
So I was my
signing.
I was not active.
He gets talking.
I was actively not out going out because it was 101.
Right.
I cannot go out, and because I feel like because there's some pills that I cannot go out in the sun or whatever that affect me, so it kind of weakened my medicine. But at the same time, and he said, "Oh, okay, that's fine. We'll adjust your medication."
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of things that the 3 things that my nutritionist told me to avoid.
Okay.
1 is 3 white things. 3 white.
Yeah.
1 is salt.
Yes.
2 is sugar, and 3 is white flour. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So white flour is when it has to do with pasta. It could be bread. It could be
anything
white. When you cook broccoli, it becomes starchy. When you cook it, everything when you cook vegetable, it becomes starchy. So a lot of it, I did not know that. I'm like, when you cook vegetables,
some vegetables,
like zucchini, it turns starchy. When you cook cucumber, they don't turn starchy at all.
Okay, but may I just say that with even the cauliflower or the zucchini, oftentimes it's, do you do it in a sauce with cheese?
Yeah, I'm going to get that.
That's the key thing.
The key. So the matter is like keep the moderation of the sauce, the taste. And there was one doctor before that when I changed the doctor said, anything that you eat that you like it, spit it out.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I know the old.
That's getting a little extreme.
Eat it.
That is so true.
I'm like, okay, that's something that stood in my mind. You know, if I don't like it, it means that it's good for me. And when I like it, it's not good for me. So that's what the doctor tentatively, kind of indirectly tells me that they care. You know, they kind of guide you in a way that, hey, it's your body.
Yeah.
I would like to have my relationship with my doctor be like a friend, like my best friend.
Exactly.
If you don't trust your doctor, you don't feel comfortable with your doctor talking about it. That's the most important thing because I am responsible for taking my medication, not them.
Right.
And when they give you a medication that I don't want to take, I'll tell them no, I don't feel comfortable taking that.
Right.
Then they'll say, well, first thing I had one doctor. Well, do you want to live or do you want to die? And I go, no, I'm not going to go for that doctor.
No.
So I went to another doctor, and he gave me an option what pill should I take that made me feel like comfortable to take it.
Right.
Because I don't believe taking so much medication and it's
exactly
balance and all that stuff. But
and the bottom line is.
The bottom line, yes.
As the key is, a lot of doctors, they don't have like extensive learning of not meds, but they don't really know how to treat your diabetes.
Susan, is there a specialist?
Yes.
What specialist would treat diabetes?
It's called an endocrinologist.
I cannot spell. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anyway,
we need a whiteboard to write words on.
Right.
Okay, hold on. It's a special doctor that focus on only in diabetic.
Yes.
Specialist. It's a long vocabulary. I cannot spell it out, but later I'll type it in for you, okay? For later.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
But so an endocrinologist, and but I find it lacking that doctors in their care, in their teaching or being taught, that they don't know about nutrition.
Why is that? That would be important to them to know.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm hoping
the medical field in the past has been taught how to heal.
Yes.
They haven't been taught how to make you well, keep you well. They've been taught how to heal. And that's one of the new areas of medicine now, is that, like with my insurance company, I have a wellness assessment clinic right here in my hometown. Once a year, I go in for a free total exam.
Right, and lab work.
And yes, they take a urine sample, blood sample, eye exam, hearing exam, bone exam.
And looking at your feet.
And looking how you get up and how you walk. Right. Your breathing. It's just a real total exam of where you're at and if there's anything wrong. Oh, and plus they give an exam for Alzheimer's.
Oh, great.
Or dementia.
Oh,
yes, especially for elderly.
Depression also.
Depression, yes.
Yeah.
And if they see any signs, then they send a letter to my primary doctor.
That's great.
So my primary doctor then can call me in.
Yes,
and
put you on the right track.
Right, and I have specialists from my primary doctor for everything.
Right.
Everything. I stay very healthy.
Name a
part.
Organ. Right.
So Susan, before we go into doctor now, as your role as a person with specialized in diabetic, could you tell people how your class start and your discussion? What's your expert? We're going to focus on you now, so we're going to focus on your
group is about.
Your information about that. Okay, go ahead.
So, as I say, I worked for about 10 to 15 years on the floor, seeing patients. But I think our whole medical thing is. There's only a few places that I know of, and I believe Kaiser and probably Sutter Gould.
These are hospitals here in Stockton, California.
Yeah, that have their goal is prevention, not how they're gonna give you the surgery because you have issues, and and that to me. I think here in this area, and I suspect maybe a lot of communities, that very little is done with prevention, Now, I have a friend that she, all her nursing career, has been like working for the caravan or working out in the community, giving wonderful classes on food and exercise, and I think that's a blessing.
Okay. Now you went through that an unknown area that people are going to ask. What van is she locally in Stockton that provide that care?
She's through
what program? What the name of the van or whatever the name is called?
Oh well, unfortunately, I also wrote about that in the caravan, which was out in the community, and initially years ago it was 100% dealing with diabetics. Well, then they decided to switch it to, if you had a cold, if you had kind of less chronic things, you would go in there and be seen and get treatment. But now I'm alarmed that within the last month, they've totally done away with the caravan.
And why is that? Because diabetes is a very important.
Right.
80% is very high number to be ignored by money issue budgeting.
Right.
So what can we do as a community in Stockton or San Joaquin to make that program go back? If that was working well in educating the community.
Right.
So how we go back and revital that program again?
I know. I think, well, like I was shocked right before I retired. They did away with this wonderful diabetic, we had an office, and we went out and we taught and we...
and where was your office?
That was at St. Joseph.
At St. Joseph, okay.
And in our heyday, we had...
What?
Yeah, heyday.
Okay. Okay.
In our heyday,
the better days.
7 days a week, there were 4 of us that went around and taught and dealt with problems. And
you held groups?
Yeah, I was always kind of involved in...
individual patient, right?
Yeah, I was always involved with task force that the hospital, doctors and us nurses and dietitians all got together trying to change, the whole treatment thing.
Treatment of diabetes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, there were ways that, there were patients that would be on insulin, and the doctors would do, what do you call it? Oh, sliding scale.
Okay.
Which is just...
hold on, what does sliding scale mean? I'm thinking like a sliding scale. Are you talking about little card or what? What are your...
No, it was that
scale.
If you do a blood sugar, and then you have to deal with what the numbers are, well, they would just give you a shot, of a rapid acting. But there's another element to diabetes that needs to be treated. It's give a long-acting insulin like Lantus, and then in the morning your blood sugar is lower than it, and then you can do the, they had a set scale that you did a finger stick and maybe it was close to 200. So you would give a set dose of insulin, the short acting.
Now, would the individual with the diabetes give themselves the insulin?
No, this was while they were in the hospital.
Okay.
So then, but there needs to be another component to eating, and then giving a little bit extra to cover the food that you're going to be eating. So it was just like part of the plan, and it needed to be with the 3 components. So
and those 3 components
were the long-acting, the current blood sugar that you had, and nothing else.
And nutrition?
Patients were on like definite diets, that address diabetes.
Now, why would, the ones that were in the hospital, were they in the hospital because of diabetes?
Well, as I say, a lot of them were open heart surgery patients.
Oh, and then you found out that they had diabetes.
And then a lot of them had, stomach issues. They'd have surgery. But, it is very important to address. You want the patients to heal.
Right.
So you want the blood sugar to be at optimal.
Stable or maintained. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know if the pancreatitis, if a person has pancreatitis or acute pancreatitis,
yes,
that it can go into diabetes.
Exactly.
Because of the process of not being able to get the sugar or insulin or anything and processed through the pancreas.
Hold on, going too fast. Okay, before you go, you said pancreatitis. Can you explain what that means? What is that like? What like a?
You have pancreatitis. You have your pancreas Your liver and your pancreas, it processes your food in enzymes.
Yes.
And if you're, say for instance, if you're an alcoholic, the alcohol can kill your cells and the enzymes and start destroying your liver and your pancreas.
Right.
And it can go into diabetes.
Into the bloodstream,
Well, yeah.
Or in effect, not producing the insulin.
Insulin.
Because the
pancreas. Because the reason why I'm saying that pancreatitis, I thought pancreatitis had to do when the pancreatitis kind of shutting it down. And then they have to and then they have to get antibiotic to heal themselves from overworking. So we have to the pancreatic and diabetic. Is that the same issue? Or did it combine
it doesn't automatically come together.
But the main thing is, remember, the insulin is made in the pancreas. Mm-hmm. And also, and then when you have a part of the disease where, you're producing insulin, but it's not being able to get into the cells. But, an itis or a pancreatitis is saying that you have a major inflammation.
Right.
Okay.
And
that can lead into diabetes.
Right.
Okay. Now, I wanted to ask you another question here, Susan. Back to our juveniles with diabetes. Is there any training given to the school? And do we have school nurses that have understand diabetes and that can help children that are at the school with diabetes?
Sadly, a lot of articles have been written about, for one, the school nurses are just at the school maybe once a week. They're going around to all these other schools.
Not like when I was in school, we had them all day.
Right.
Yeah. Every day. They were there always.
Yes. And secondly, there are, I feel that we need to ensure that that children that have diabetes and that they're on a definite protocol as to how to treat it. Mm-hmm. Well, some places have been known to have somebody that works in the office give insulin or do finger sticks
during the day if a child needs it.
Or they require the parents to come in and deal with the, Mm-hmm. But a lot of people work, And so, the worst case scenario is that a child wouldn't be able to go to school, because there's no one that
can monitor him or her.
Yes.
And lunches and the food intake and so forth.
Right.
Okay. Can I hold on? Okay. Now that's a good. I like where they're going. I remember I know a friend that went to I believe it's Edison on Pershing Street. That's a high school right there.
That's a high school here in Stockton.
What's the name of it?
It's either Franklin or
it's on Pershing,
where?
On Brookside.
On Brookside.
Oh, Stagg High School.
Oh, Stagg High. Okay, there's a student with one of the friends, the next door neighbor, was going to school, and he had to carry a backpack on him. Okay, so they were walking, and somehow one of the kids that were waiting in the parking lot they were hiding. They got kicked out for being a bully.
Oh.
Okay, so after that, the group of people took his shoes off and flipped him over, and we found out that he was diabetic.
Oh, okay.
And luckily, if you would have had a cut, and look at his back prevented from going to the ground and smacking, he would have had a cut in the back, and then they take insulin shot. But somehow the school was not warned. The school, the principal went to that day when I happened to knew that they were the top safest school. I'm like, what? No. But at the same time, I was noticing that they don't know what their children, the students at the school have, whether or not they're diabetic, if they have or they have some kind of illness but they should have on record.
Well, yes, the parents need to take
not
that
the parent, the school are the parent, because they have to watch them every day.
Well, the parent needs to notify the school that their child
need to be your child's advocate. In so many things in life, you need to be your own advocate.
Now, let me ask you one more question before we close here. A lot of people that do have diabetes have lost toes, lost feet, lost legs. And why is it caused? What happens to the body when I've seen people's legs totally black and having to be removed, and feet and so forth?
It's, for one, that the sugar really affects the circulation.
Okay.
Right. Secondly, the sugar also, neuropathy-wise, you might not be able to feel your feet.
Right.
And people don't wear proper shoes, and so they're, harming their feet, and they're not even aware of it. And so that's kind of, and then the whole wound thing.
Yes.
People aren't examining their legs or their feet adequately.
So there's a really, we're getting close to the end of our show today, and Susan, I really appreciate everything that you have taught us today, and taught all of you out there listening to our show. And it's quite evident that we need more education in diabetes, education from our doctors, and
could I come back?
Oh, definitely. There's more to talk about.
We can keep going.
Okay.
So I want to say also that it concerns me that so many of our families do not have medical care.
Oh, I know.
And here we have adults with diabetes, and it can only be identified by a doctor through blood tests, and then children also, and not having the medical care is terrible. I'm not going to get into the politics about it, but I believe that the communities should do as much as they possibly can to have more education, PTA meetings for parents, or group meetings, or at churches, any place where people gather to get the word out, the information out, because the diabetes rate, if you're saying 80 to 90% have diabetes too, and that's after you get older.
Right.
And it's so much to learn about the proper eating and so forth, because one thing, Susan, when I was taking my training class, I was told I was the only one that could control my diabetes. It was what I put in my mouth is what either prevented me from getting diabetes or I would get diabetes. Right. And it only was through education that I learned these things.
But I mean, it's an all-inclusive, and you want to prevent the complications of kidney,
the pancreas,
the liver, your feet, And
it affects vision too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, vision.
I just thought, okay, well, you know what? We're not going to wrap it. We're not going to. We can keep going longer. If we can. Our next show is not going to be able to come, so we could keep going over.
Oh, nice.
So we can still talk about it more longer. Okay.
Okay.
So just to touch on the base on eating, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you said, people are on denial. I have seen people who take their insulin shot, but they don't. In the morning, they take the shot before they take the blood test.
Right.
Okay, but normally you need to check the blood first to know how much insulin you need to take to put in. So I have seen, because I have heard people that say that I rather have a little higher. A little higher sugar than being like between 70 and 120, because they're not used to, because they're always on the high.
And what you're talking about is the count of the blood off when you're using a blood meter machine. Right.
Yeah, so that when it comes to the machine, I have witnessed a lot of people that they rather have a little higher than they're being the borderline.
But the damage that it's doing. But really, I mean, you know, high blood sugar is bad. But what's even more dangerous is low blood sugar.
Oh, yes.
And
why is that?
Because if it's bad enough, you can actually lose consciousness. If the perspiring, I know
what, I'll tell you the symptom. Low sugar, I get a lot all the time. When you get to 50% sugar, you get perspiration, your heart starts pounding, you wake up, you just feel disorientated.
You do.
You feel like something is not right, you know. You get a really hunger for food. I mean, so that's a symptom. But when you get high, it's the same thing as the low sugar too, because you get the perspiration, you get the heart palpitation, and I noticed that when I was doing the wall.
You need to sign.
I was signing, and the first day I
signed. Really?
Yeah, I was signing. The second time, I went and I was gonna be part of an interpreter for one of the speaker, but somehow I couldn't do it because my sugar was. I ate cereal, and then when I went and I hear I'm walking, I'm already perspiring because I had my sugar was so, and my heart was just kind of pump. So I'm like, well, oh my God, what's wrong with this? You know, and plus and Julie. Julie was like, actually, Dr. Julie came up to me and said, he's a veterinarian, but he was telling Doug, the face don't look good. Now another negative, not good, should sit down and relax. Yeah. So I sat down and relaxed, but it was really hot, you know, my feet started swelling. Like I could feel like my heart was on my feet.
I know.
So it's a thing that you have, the two things that I believe that people should have when they're diabetic or pre-diabetic. Having good shoes.
Yes.
Having good, having a good bed to rest, because it takes a lot out of you during the day when you have a chemical imbalance. Because I rely on my vision. And when my vision,
when it's blurred,
and then at nighttime, the doctor already told me that I have a sugar blindness. So when I take my sugar, I cannot see it. It's all blurry. And then at nighttime, I cannot see. I cannot see the floor. So I have to have the light.
Yes.
And I like to see where I'm going, so I don't bump.
Is that when your sugar is low or too high?
No, it's already damaged. My sugar. I'm legally blind without my glasses. So that's from the cause of my sugar high. Well, but it could be, and even the doctor told me it could be blood pressure. That's direct and blood sugar.
You're not
it's a combination of those. So so now without my glasses, I cannot see anything. Which I had, like I said, it's denial. But I don't want to go to the.
Listen, you should.
But I know, but what the doctor told the doctor that did my glasses said, well, Doug, this is your glasses. It's corrected your vision, so you're not actually blind.
Right.
But if I didn't have it, if it's broken, then I would have a hard time seeing people. And same thing with hearing aid. Same thing. It's a temporary solution, but it's not going to make me feel like I'm able to hear everything that's been said.
Exactly.
So it's only a temporary solution for diabetes. Same thing with diabetic. People don't take diabetes seriously because, like you say, it affects your mood, it affects your lifestyle. You have to really think, you know what, I don't want to die.
No.
I do not want to die, because that's like cancer to me. The cancer is the cancer when you come to have to work on your diabetes. It's a constant battle every day.
It is. And I say that diabetes is like a balancing act of your meds, what you're eating, and the activity level. Because sadly, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Now, you can die from diabetes?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Say you have an extremely low blood sugar and you're alone,
Right.
I mean, you could be moving towards a coma. Now, how are you going to, and that requires somebody in your home being on top of it and knowing that your blood sugar is off the charts.
Because let's that. For example, when you're taking diabetes insulin shot, the sign, you don't know if you're going to coma. You feel sleepy. You're kind of dozing off, and you're really dying to sleep. So that's what happened to my cousin. My cousin just took her shot, and she didn't realize she overdosed herself. Oh. And nobody wasn't home, and she fell asleep.
And then never woke up?
Never woke up.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous thing with your life. When it comes to, and that's why people are more afraid to have their sugar in a certain area in a target rate between 170 to 180, because they have a tendency to have it being pre-diabetic up to the low score. So, and that's the bad thing for people to have, is having both sides. I don't like to be part low and part high, and I have constant battle. I get scared when I take a pill. I'm not gonna wake up.
Right.
In the night. So.
And I tell people, never take your insulin without first checking your blood sugar to see where you're at. It may be, and then some people that have been diabetic for a long while, they have what's called hypoglycemia unawareness, where they're just totally not aware of what their blood sugar, is doing. But I tell
you mean they're not taking their blood tests?
No, they're numb to the symptom.
Yeah.
So if they're high, like for example, I tell my mom, I'm tired, I'm hungry. Well, I don't get that feeling, because she's been diabetic for a long time. And they've been numb to it. But people that have recently been turned pre-diabetic, they pick up the symptom really quick. Sensitivity. I'm very sensitive what I put in my mouth. If I put a sugar in my mouth, or if I put a pasta in my mouth, my sugar goes up. If I put a little, I'm not a bread person. I'm more like my mom will swear by the Bible with me. I don't eat red meat. I don't like red meat.
Good.
I do not like white bread. I don't eat white bread. The thing that messed me up is sugar. It's candy. And so if I get a candy at night and go to bed, that's what got me where I am at now. But if I don't eat sugar, and I noticed that when I eat the sugar, my stomach starts getting like a, what do you call that?
Acid?
Really acidy feeling.
Oh, really?
Real sugar, and my body telling me it's rejecting it, Doug. And here my mind said, well, I can't live without my sugar. But my body telling me kind of throw it up. All that violet and all that thing. So it's like a eating disorder too. I believe when you're diabetic, you also have an eating disorder. Sometimes you eat without food for a day. You're gonna start eating more during the day. You're gonna have to. It's a lot of controlling what you eat.
It is.
Well, what I was told in my training was to have like 5 small meals during the day.
Yeah.
So that you keep your blood level at a steady level. Am I saying the right word?
Yes.
Blood level at the right. I remember when I was going to my training class and I was checking my blood every day, I would check it in the morning, and it would be high.
Oh,
and I would call my nursing support. I had a nursing support staff.
Great.
And she said, Connie, you're okay. And I said, well, how come it went up a little bit? And she said, because you have been asleep for over 8 hours, generally, and you...
It's a self-protection
Yes,
thing.
it's self-protection. And she said, if you really are worried, then eat a cracker before you go to bed. Or a small piece of fruit. And I followed that. And everything was fine then in the mornings. Everything was fine.
I know.
And, I mean, my level was really very, very normal. But being one where I thought I might be getting diabetes, I was panicky all the time. But what I learned was that to have small meals during the day, 4, 5, 6 of them, so that you just keep everything at an even balance.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. These are some of the tests. The hemoglobin A1C. Which,
can you just read it to us or something, because I can't see it on the screen?
The hemoglobin A1C, and that's to check your long-term blood sugar control. And it should be done every 3 to 4 months. Complete foot exam should be every time you go into the doctor's. He should be looking at your feet. Plus, you should be checking your feet, cleansing your feet, but daily. But the bad thing is that dry in between your toes.
Right.
Because,
and I know that your feet. I know that the feet are very to clean your feet. Like you get peeled, you get callus.
Right.
And then when you start peeling, and all of a sudden you get that redness of the skin constantly. And then it's now you have a sensitive of it. So when I go to the doctor, they say, well, they normally don't check it, you know.
Oh, I know.
I asked them, can you check my feet? And you have to really tell them. Because they won't, if you don't tell them, they won't do it for you. Or if you have a retention of your water when you touch it, they don't do that also. So, you know, not that they only charge to visit, just to look at you. But and they don't do it. They don't do what the monitor.
Well, that's why you have to, and I tell people, you have to be an advocate for yourself. You have to walk into the doctor's office with questions. So that written down, your questions written down. If you want to make sure that your doctor's checking if you have water retention or if you want them to check your feet, write that down on a piece of paper and then take it to your doctor and ask them your questions. Do not leave the office till you get answers to those questions. But so many people, they want answers, but they don't ask the questions. And the doctor just does a quick overview.
And a doctor, something could be said that they're not a mind reader.
Exactly. They're not. That is very true. They're not a mind reader. And if you're just coming in, say, if you're coming in for a physical, that's a different story. But if you're coming in for a cold or you need a prescription refilled, then you should also ask about these other questions that you have. Or concerns.
I had a doctor years ago that they used to, he gave you a little slip of paper and you needed to, and you would put down the questions that you wanted, and that was very, very helpful. However, I learned that he would only take care of like 2 to 3 questions.
They have like 10 minutes. Other people could look for it before you go.
Well, they say 15 minutes per patient, if possible.
Okay, now, but regarding to sugar related to what is it? Blood pressure.
Blood pressure should be taken every visit. And it should be less than 130/80.
Good.
And then lipid panels should be done once a year.
Okay, hold on. What the people don't know what lipid panel? What does that mean?
Well, that shows the
cholesterol.
Yes.
Or the fatty tissue in your cholesterol.
The fatty, yeah. And there's the low density blood sugar. I mean,
the fatty tissue.
Yeah, which actually should be high. No. It's the bad.
The bad, it should be
right.
low.
I say lousy for the bad.
Can you read what it said?
Okay.
That way
high amounts of bad cholesterol. That's your low density lipids. Low amounts of good cholesterol, which that's the HDL, which I call happy. The happy.
And this is from your blood test?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you should have this tested once a year. And because the bad one, if it's high, it may increase your risk of heart disease.
Okay. And stroke.
And
because sugar pins the fat, and the fat creates the blood clot.
Yeah, right.
That's why I take a lot of aspirin, to thin the blood.
Yeah. So do you take like the 81 milligrams?
No, I don't take the 81. My mom keeps telling me to take one, but a long time ago when I was going to my heart doctor, I would take 2 pills of aspirin because I was having panic attack, anxiety attack, and I didn't know that I had thyroid problems back then. So now it's a habit that I take it every like during a big meal, so I don't have that.
Oh, good. So you don't have the reflux or the irritation.
Acid reflux.
Yeah. So I eat that with that, and then when I take my diabetic pill, I take that because sometimes my glipizide give me headache.
Oh yes.
So yes. But my blood work has been doing really good on that, on glipizide than Lipitor.
Yeah.
No, the other one. Truniva.
Oh, okay. And then
kidney function.
Kidney function at least once a year. And they want you to check your urine to make sure that you're not spilling microalbumin. And then also your serum creatinine.
The what?
Is serum creatinine.
It's the acidity of your urine, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then dilated eye exams at least once a year. And they can actually look in the back and see if you're having any seepage of blood vessels within your eye.
Would that be a sign of diabetes?
Yes.
Blood pressure.
Okay.
Yeah. I went in recently, and I ended up having to have a cataract surgery. And I went through that.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
I had that myself.
Now I'm going through the other eye.
Now I find out that when my mom had cataract, you got to tell the doctor you want a far distance cataract, or you want a low distance cataract, or you want to have a kind of neutral.
Right.
So they're adjustable. Yeah, but like this glasses, it's progressive lens.
Oh yeah.
It's why they go far, the middle, and it's reading glasses. So,
triceps.
But the thing is, before we're gonna end this show right now. Can you tell me the diabetic support group that you're currently working on now?
Okay.
So people will reach out to you, your number or whatever.
Yeah.
The group.
We have a diabetic support group. And it meets downstairs at St. Joseph's the third Wednesday of the month.
That's St. Joseph Hospital in Stockton, California.
Yeah, in the basement.
Okay, in the basement. So on the third week,
a Wednesday of the month.
Right. So that's only one month, once a month.
Right.
Group.
And it's 5:30 to 7, and I try to have a speaker come. And last month I had he's a wonderful guy. He's a master gardener, and he was telling what benefits you get from doing a garden, you know.
Gardening.
Right. And
yeah,
then
the physical activity.
Yeah, and being out in the sun and just, you know, it's thrilling to be able to grow vegetables,
right.
You know. And then this month, I had a wound clinic woman, because wounds are
part of diabetes.
Yes,
you gotta have knowledge of that, right?
And it's amazing, you know, the progress that they've made and the elements that they are able to use, you know, to help with your wound on your legs. I had open heart surgery, and I am also diabetic, and it was getting better. And then all of a sudden, the tendon came to the surface.
Of your arm? Your
yeah,
left arm?
You could just see your tendon. And so I went and finally found an excellent wound doctor. He was my podiatrist for years. And he came up, it's an element that's made with pig bladder. And...
It's a medicine, or
yeah,
okay.
It's in the powdered form, and then they put it in the wound, and then it's
it heals.
it has normal saline in it, so it's kind of a paste.
Okay.
And I had it on my arm for I think about 6 weeks, and it totally, you know, turned everything around. I was very pleased, you know.
Okay. So the support group is every first Thursday of every month at St. Joseph Hospital at 5:30 to 7:30. Well, thank you, Susan Sanchez, for coming. I really, I am very thankful. I learned a lot, and everybody can relate what we all go through, and understand that it's awesome.
But
and it's education purpose that some people don't refuse to listen, or some people want to listen and able to be educated,
and they don't have a place to listen.
So, what's your number to get contact you if they want to?
Okay. My phone number is 209-662-9487.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the information so Vigil to come and talk to you about.
Yes, thank you very much, Susan.
Oh, yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching us, the voice of Stockton. Thank you for everything. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.